welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Janelle and this is Murder Mystery Monday. Now, since this is Murder Mystery Monday in March Mystery Madness, I thought that I should go along with the theme of 2 by 2 and recommend 2 mysteries for you instead of just one. So throughout the month of March, when it's Murder Mystery Monday, you will be getting a pair of mysteries so that we are going along with the theme. Before we get into that though, I need to show you the book that I found for yesterday's round of the 2 by 2 mystery game. Now, I needed to find a book that was in the first person and in a rural setting. And since I'm going by the books that are on my cart that I have not read yet, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm fairly certain that The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton fits. It's definitely first person, I checked. And I'm pretty sure it's rural because as far as I understand, the events of this story take place in a country house. Let me know in the comment section down below if I've got that wrong. But if I'm right, this is the book that I am choosing for this round. Now, stay tuned to the end of the video where we will play a brand new round of the 2 by 2 mystery game. So, for Murder Mystery Mondays, I like to recommend a mystery to you that is from my collection and that it is backlist, and I have 2. And so I decided to kind of come up with a theme each time. The theme for today's mysteries is unusual settings. First up, we have A Morbid Taste for Bones by Ellis Peters. This is the first in the Brother Cadfael series. They are set in medieval England, and the unusual setting is a monastery. They are set in a monastery, and Brother Cadfael is the herbalist for the monastery. I really like this series. Brother Cadfael is a great character. I love the time period that these mysteries are set in. He is an amateur sleuth in a monastery. So let me give you the date that this book came out is 1977. Here we go. In the 12th century Benedictine monastery of Shrewsbury, Brother Cadfael has settled down to a quiet life in charge of the herbarium after an adventurous and far from monastic youth. But when his prior determines to acquire the bones of a saint from a remote Welsh village, Cadfael's worldly experience becomes vitally important. It is fortunate indeed that his skills as a herbalist are matched by his prowess as a detective, since the obstacles to the expedition include murder. So these are really fun little, they're all pretty short historical mysteries. Here's the first, from the first paragraph. On the fine, bright morning in early May, when the whole sensational affair of the Gwithrin relics may properly be considered to have begun, Brother Cadfael had been up long before prime, pricking out cabbage seedlings before the day was aired, and his thoughts were all on birth, growth, and fertility, not at all on graves and reliquaries and violent deaths, whether of saints, sinners, or ordinary, decent, fallible men like himself. Whew, that was a one sentence. Wow. So there you have it. My first recommendation for today's pairing is A Morbid Taste for Bones by Ellis Peters. Next up, we have Green for Danger by Christianna Brand. This is a very different mystery to A Morbid Taste for Bones, but it does have an unusual setting because this is set in a military hospital in England during the Blitz. And I think that is unusual for a mystery. This was published in 1944. Let me double check. Yes, 1944. Green for Danger, set in a military hospital during the Blitz, is one of Brand's most intricately plotted mysteries, executed with her characteristic cleverness and gusto. When a patient dies under the anesthetic and later the presiding nurse is murdered, Inspector Cockrell finds himself with 6 suspects, 3 doctors and 3 nurses, and not a discernible opportunity among them. How Cockrell's determined, if eccentric fortitude brings about a dramatic last-minute confession, makes for an ingeniously twisted missing piece to a superbly suspenseful detection puzzle. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was great, and I really did enjoy the setting. So it's in a military hospital that's been set, where they requisition a building and give it a new purpose, like they did during the war. Here's the first paragraph. Joseph Higgins, postman, pushed his battered red bicycle up the long ascent that leads to Heron's Park, 3 miles out of Heronsford in Kent. It had been a children's sanatorium before the war, and now was being hurriedly scrambled into shape as a military hospital. Its buildings stood out big and gray and bleak among the naked winter trees, and he cursed them heartily as he toiled up the hill, his bicycle tacking groggily from side to side of the country road. All this for a mere 7 letters. 6 miles out of his way for a handful of letters that would probably not even be looked at until the morning. He spread them out fan-wise in one hand, his elbow resting heavily on the handlebar, and examined them resentfully. The first was addressed to the commanding officer. One of the new medicos, guessed Higgins shrewdly, holding it up to the light. A nice linen envelope and a Harley Street postmark, and doctor's writing was always illegible. So there you have it. Green for Danger by Christianna Brand and A Morbid Taste for Bones by Ellis Peters. Those are my 2 recommendations for mysteries in unusual settings. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've read either of these books, and do you have a recommendation for me of a mystery in an unusual setting? I would love to hear about some unusual settings. And before we go, it's time for another round of the 2x2 mystery game. Are you ready? Let's play. 4. 4 gives us type of detective, amateur, or professional. Roll number 2. 1 gives us type of mystery, thriller, or whodunit. All right, roll number 3. 1. So we need to find a thriller with an amateur detective. And remember, thriller is wide open. It basically just means any type of mystery that's not a whodunit. So put what you find in the comment section down below, and come back for my next video to find out what book I find. And at this point, I'm going to be looking in my cart, the books that I've pulled for March, strictly for these answers. So that limits my choices a bit, but I'm pretty sure I will be able to find a thriller with an amateur detective. And I will see you for another video soon. Bye.